Hello and welcome to me talk about whatever I want. Today I'm going to talk about the process that I do to create my digital drawings on my laptop. I use Krita, this free drawing program that I downloaded off of Google. I've used Krita since I got my Wacom a couple years ago. It has worked out pretty well for me. I used to use Faralpaca and Autodesk Sketchbook, but I just got very comfortable with Krita and I didn't use anything else since, even though it just acts very, very silly sometimes. Anyway, going into my drawings, I tend to look at references off of Pinterest or Instagram. I like using references a lot. It helps me get inspiration and it really helps with proportions and anatomy so I know where to put things. For this drawing, I chose this reference I found, and I found an outfit as well to try and incorporate into the character. So let's get this started. I start with two sketches. One is just to structure the body and the drawing out. The other is more blueprint for the line art. I try not to put a lot of effort into my sketches because before I used to go really hard on the base sketch, and by the time I would get to line art, I would not be happy with the final line art, but that's a whole other thing. Speaking of line art, I like making really thin line art. I think it's a good way to capture more detail and it looks good to me personally. That's just my opinion. The downside is that the line art takes forever. It takes a while. And I have to be careful because sometimes the line art will come out sketchier than I like and it'll be more unstable. But it just takes a really long time. Next, I do coloring. I used to really hate coloring, but now I kind of enjoy it. So I start with finding a base color, and I'll put that at the bottom of the line art. I'll usually pick a color that is prevalent in the character's design or outfit or something like that. After putting down the base color, I'll add another layer where I'll do all the flat colors. All the flat colors are going on one layer because I'm just lazy like that. I used to create separate layers for everything in the drawing when I initially started, but why would I? Anyway, then I add another layer. Take a shot every time I say layer. Don't actually do that. I add things like blush, freckles, other details on the eyes, the clothes, and so on and so forth. After flat coloring, I shade everything. I shade where I believe the shadows would be. I do what I've realized is hard shading, cell shading. I didn't really learn the difference between that and soft shading, but it's the one that I do the most. I like how it looks. It's just easy. Moving on. I will add one more layer, and this is going to be set to overlay. I take white and I will just put white on various places of the drawing, and it makes it look shiny and like highlights, and I like that. Another thing I do is I will duplicate the line art layer and then set the bottom duplicate to overlay, and I will start erasing parts of the top layer, and it'll change color. It'll look more like human flesh as opposed to thin black lines. Sometimes this works, sometimes it doesn't. I just recently started doing started playing with all the filters. Okay, after that, I will duplicate the base color layer that I was talking about earlier. I'll duplicate it and I'll carry it up to the top. Maybe I'll duplicate it again, just out of convenience, but for the first one, I set that to overlay or soft light or vivid light or something like that, and I will set the opacity down. Then I'll take that, or the second duplicate, and I'll either set it to darken, or I will go to the top and I will change the color from what it initially was to something that's a little darker or contrasting or something like that. And so I'll set that to darken. I'll turn on the opacity and I'll start erasing parts of where I think the light source would come from. Alright, after that I will take another layer and I will try and add a lighter color to just make it look like light is reflecting off the drawing. I initially forgot to say this earlier, but after I did the first set of overlays back earlier, I would do something similar where I would eye drop the colors on the overlays, and I would make it a better outline. I used to do this a lot. I've started doing it again. Anyway, back to lighting. You take that lighter color and you add it to various places where you think the light would come from, and it makes the art look a lot better than it actually is. This is why lighting is my favorite part of the process. I'll go back, I'll add extra details, and I will try and half-ass a background. I'm not very good at backgrounds. Rip. Well, that's it. That's all. That's what I do. I have spent a long time drawing, and this is just the culmination of all the things that I've learned and experimented with. Thank you for staying and watching. You really did not have to, but I appreciate it. Thank you. Bye.